Welcome to MTG Ectoplasm, your home for Spirit Tribal and Magic the Gathering news. I'm your host, Dwight, aka DeBlanco, a medium that wears an extra large. You can reach out to me on Twitter at MTG Ectoplasm, or you can email me directly at mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. Now, like I ask each and every episode, I ask you, please do me a favor, hit that follow, like, subscribe button. I don't know where you're streaming this. You could be streaming this on YouTube or Twitch, or you're listening on Spotify or Apple or Google Podcast. Wherever you're streaming this, hit that follow, like, subscribe button. It could be over here, over there, somewhere underneath here. I have no clue. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, every single episode is free. I'm not charging you anything, especially with the price of gas and inflation. I don't want to charge you anything. Knowledge is power, and I have a lot of knowledge for you this evening. Now, before I get started, this episode has been brought to you by my friends at Greg's Games. That's right, Greg's Games at 2103 White Horse Mercerville Road in Hamilton, New Jersey, 8619. And as I tell you, right now, dealing especially with the topic that I'm talking about tonight, they got live events. They got live events, ladies and gentlemen. They got Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! They have Magic the Gathering. They got Pioneer, Pauper, Legacy, Modern, Commander. These people have it all. They got tabletop games. They have decks, deck boxes, sleeves, anything and everything you're looking for in a game store. Ladies and gentlemen, they got it there. And like I tell you, they expanded it. Greg decided, hey, I want more space because guess what? I want more people playing games. Guess what? He made it happen. And while you're there, tell Greg, hey, I heard you on MTG Ectoplasm, and I'm here to check you out. So if you're in the Philadelphia area, come over to Jersey. You'll appreciate it. If you're in New York, make the drive. You're going to appreciate it. And if you're in Baltimore, it's about a 3-hour hike. But even though you got LGSs down there, you may want to come up to us and check them out. Greg's Games. Check them out. 2103 White Horse, Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 8619. Now that the pleasantries are over and said and done with, I have to say hello to the one individual who goes out of their way to drive the show. They're the engineer. Uh, she's passionately my wife, and I thank her for every day being there with me, especially with this past week. I know you haven't seen me live on air or putting podcasts out. I've been working very hard. People don't know I work as a nurse. I get home beat, exhausted, and I literally pass out on the couch. And then dealing with my mother who has COVID. Fortunately, she's coming over. She has atypical pneumonia now, so she's up and down, but I got to deal with that. But I want to bring onto the show the engineer who's driving the show, the one, the only, the Ravishing Renata. How you doing, Ravishing?
I'm doing pretty good. I just want to thank everyone for listening to our podcast.
Oh, look at you, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed over here in the evening. So how do you feel?
Tired, but great.
There you go. What do you think of tonight's topic?
I think that it's going to be a good topic, and we should get started.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. She wants to start this bad boy right now. Well, before we do, I want to send the special thanks to several people who've reached out to me on YouTube. On YouTube for sending all those comments. I appreciate it. The ones also sending emails. I actually had a young man in Germany reach out to me saying, he wanted particular content. I've had people DM me, I want this particular content. I want deck list reviews. You know what? I'm down. Bring it on. I'm here. You're going to get some deck lists coming shortly, just because of this particular content that I'm bringing to you tonight. This is going to be part one. I'm going to bring you part two. I'm going to explain to you what part two is at the tail end of the show. So if you've read the title of this episode, ProTour is back, baby. That's right. ProTour is back. Holy cow. I don't know about you, but I want to say, because of what happened with COVID, everybody's depressed. Everybody's sad. We couldn't go out. It's called Magic the Gathering, and we could not gather. What a sad day that is, right? That's a very sad thing. And then on top of that, the players were complaining. They were like, hey, we want our fair share over here. We're busting our tail doing Pro Tour stuff. And We want some cha-ching. Watsy tried and it didn't work. It didn't work. So guess what? They decided we're gonna modify this. They ended up hiring a young man originally from Watsy to refix, revamp, retool ProTour. And what it is, it's the Magic Premier system. That's what they're calling it. Basically, for those who don't know, Pro Tour officially starts the first week of July, this July. Now, what events are they talking? Dum dum dum. Are you ready? It's Pioneer. I know many of you are like, "What? Pioneer?" No, not Pioneer. Yeah. Some of us old school players like myself are like, maybe Legacy. Some of the new school players like, oh, I like Standard. I don't know why, but some of them said Standard. Not Modern. No Modern. But Pioneer. WotC is going to push Pioneer. And if you're listening and you're a Spirit person, two thumbs up, baby. Right? We got the deck here. It's one of the top decks in right now on Pioneer. And if you're listening for because it's Magic the Gathering, Spirits, baby. That's all I gotta say. Woo! Bring it on. That's what I'm gonna say about that. Now, the cool thing, ladies and gentlemen, is how does it start? How do you individual like you? Well, let's bring up the special triangle that Wansi decided to bring us. And here it is. This little triangle they've posted. It starts with the bottom and it says regional championship qualifiers. Now, what exactly is you know, a regional championship qualifier? If you remember anything like the PTQs, IQs, and so on and so forth, you had to go to your local local. You had to go to your LGS and compete. And if you were in the top or if you won, guess what? You qualified to keep on playing. Same thing happens here. The only difference is that if you go to what they call a premier shop, okay, they send two. If you're just going to a basic shop that is not premier, they send one player to the regionals. Now, it's pretty neat. It's pretty cool. Just think about it. It's one out of several hundred players playing in your local area and competing. For me, I'm in Monmouth County, New Jersey. Be specific. I'm surrounded by 5, 6 magic shops. That's I'm spoiled that way. I'm gonna be honest with you, but none of them are premier. So that means out of all the play that there is, all the Magic Gathering players that are in my unique area, only 6 qualify to go to regionals. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, as I talk about in my shout out section, right? Now, they're also doing a thing with Arena and MTGO. So, for those who are like, oh man, but I like MTGO, well, guess what? You're going to be able to qualify, and you're going to be able to qualify through Arena. And how do you do it? Well, we don't know. Why? Because once he decided in their infinite wisdom, sit there and push something, and they went, uh, here's the information, and then that's right, ladies and gentlemen, they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball because they were like, no, we don't know what we're gonna do with it. That's balls, straight up balls. Now, at the qualifying at the regional level, you go to the regionals. Now, at the regional level, if we can bring up that triangle again, at the regional level, okay, you're going to have players who are going to be the best, all right? And you're going to get some really awesome swag. You're going to get some awesome cards. You're going to get this and that. I talked to this one individual was like, yo, Dwight, if you really want to, you need to really compete because let me just tell you, these cards are going to hand out, you know, going to be beautiful. It's going to be stunning. A friend of mine who I play Magic with, try to every Friday. I call him Dr. Tom. Dr. Tom, actually, a friend of mine, uh, ended up winning states and ended up getting a During the Siege Tower extended art foil, which he traded to me for a Thoughtseize. I don't know who won that trade. This guy. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, he ended up qualifying and he won. He topped 8 in states and won. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So, in my play group, we got some players. We got some guys. Unfortunately, we're not a team like my friend in Brazil, Douglas Rosa, part of the team Menomax. But in this regional, you're going to be able to compete against the best. You're going to test your skills. And then on top of that, you get awesome swag. You can't beat that. You can't beat that at all. Now that if you win at the regional level, okay, and in the US, let me back up a little bit. In the regional area, okay, it's gonna be run by DreamHack in the United States. Okay. I think these are bigger shops or bigger competitive companies that they put together, and they're going to be running these regional areas. So if you go from your little mom and pop shop, right, there's going to be a major regional event somewhere, let's say in the United States, because I'm here in the US. So I went in New Jersey, I got to go to, let's say, California. And DreamHack is going to run an event in California. This is hypothetical. If I win in DreamHack, guess what? I go to the Pro Tour and I got to go wherever Pro Tour sends me, right? So in the United States, it's DreamHack that's running it. In Canada, it's face-to-face games for friends like Nikachu, MTG. And then in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, you got Legacy. They're running that. Japan and Korea, they got the Big Magic that's running that. And then my friends in Brazil, City Class Games is running those regionals. So hopefully, I'm going to be honest. I'm an only child, so I'm spoiled. I hope it's by me. If I qualify, hopefully, from my lips to God's ears, I hope it's in the New York tri-state area. Realistically, it's going to be probably like Tupelo, Mississippi. That's generally what's going to happen. Now, the cool thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that because of the Pro Tour, you qualify, right? And you go to, let's say you go to the Pro Tour, right? The Pro Tour has prizes up to $500,000 depending on how you place. That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. $500,000. And you got to be one of 300 players. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Think about this. You start in your little regional area of thousands. One. You go to regionals and you compete wherever you are. Probably another set of 1,000 players. Let's say 2,500 players. And then you go to the Pro Tour and now you're down to 300 total players. Wow. Now, if you kick ass at Pro Tour, 128 of them go to Worlds. Worlds, ladies and gentlemen. And right there, you're talking about $1 million, depending on how you place. $1 million. So you're going to go, well, Dwight, how, you talked about being a regional person, starting from my LGS. If I stay in my LG, like if I go to Pro Tour and I don't do well, do I have to start from scratch? The answer is yes and no. I say yes and no because the fact that yes, because if you don't make a certain amount of points, what they call adjusted match points. Monty is telling us right now that you have to have over 39 adjusted match points. Now, what they say adjusted for is that if you have a total of 9 points, okay, and you have a different number out there, let's say, I don't know, 50, let's say 59, just to round it up, 59 player points. Well, you subtract 9 from that, you get 50, and you meet a threshold that you have to meet the minimum of 39. And then that means you qualify for the upcoming Pro Tour. But you have to keep on competing and competing and competing to make sure you stay your ground. You don't have to go all the way back to the bottom. You just got to stay at Pro Tour level and keep on competing. So, meaning, if you sit there and go 10-6, okay, you didn't win. You're probably in the top 40. Okay, you still have a chance and still competing at Pro Tour level. Nothing wrong there. Now they also have the uh the oh god, the people, the Hall of Famers. Thank you. Hall of Famers. The Hall of Famers qualify for one Pro Tour event and one world event. One. So they gotta make sure they pick the right poison. If not, boom, they're out. I know many of them are like, oh, I'd rather go to the Worlds. Well, sometimes those slots are taken, and you got to take your poison pill at Pro Tour. And it's going to be neat to seeing some of the best of the best of the best of the best compete at the Pro Tour level against even the superior, the most elite level of Magic the Gathering players. Now, the thing is, most people are asking is, hey, Dwight, is this going to be televised? Are we going to be able to stream it? Allegedly so. Allegedly. The only reason why I say allegedly is because WotC tends to do odd things. And, one moment they say one thing and then they pull it back. They take it back. Oh, we're going to do this. We'll take it back. Like, for example, the newest Unset, right? We have they said the first week of April, and now it's April's here and we see nothing. We're still waiting for this particular Unset. Unfinity. Well, since I'm a player who doesn't really care for onsets, but really like the lands because that's the only thing that's awesome about them. For me personally, where's it at? Where's it at? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first part that I'm talking to you about. That you, me, Ravishing, we all have a chance. We have an opportunity to meeting our level of expectation that we have, to put ourselves to the challenge. I hate to steal a line from a song from Survivor, The Eye of the Tiger. We change our passion for glory. I'm very, very passionate about Magic the Gathering. If I wasn't passionate, I wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. Hell, I know you are passionate. Why? Because you're watching a podcast about magic, about spirits. That's how I know you're passionate. And I know you want to test your mettle. You want to sit there and see how far you can go. And I'll be rooting for you as I do each and every other time where I do my shout out section. But the first step starts July of 2022. Now, will you be brave and will you be bold enough to sit there and take spirits? I hope so. If you do, you know what? It's going to be a wonderful time. I'm going to sit there and just go. But know one thing, I'm competing too. I'm going for the gold. My goal is to get to winning a qualifying spot to go to regionals. And then from regionals, you know what? If I can win there, I'm going to Pro Tour, baby. Because that's my goal. That's my dream. That's been my aspiration since playing this game since 1999. So, like I said, this is the first part. I wanted you aware because there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of gaga and caca being talked, and no one being truthful with you. I wish I could tell you right now how to qualify on MTG on Arena. You have no clue. But it's coming. I'm letting you know right now that Pioneer is the key format to qualify for Pro Tour. So, ladies and gentlemen, start tuning up your decks because I'll tell you one thing. Shame on me. Excuse me. Shame on me. I've been practicing with my mono blue snow build spirits, and I went to look at my Bant Pioneer. My mana base was horrific. Horrific. Fortunately, today I went to my LGS, got what I needed, and now my Bant is fixed. But now I have to go back and verify and double check my Azorius build because, hey, I want to have all three separate different versions, separate but equal, and find out which is the better match because I want to make sure that's my key deck, depending on how the meta adapts and changes thanks to the streets of New Capenna. And don't worry, we're going to do an episode on all the wild and wacky things that are going on in the streets of New Capenna. Don't worry, we're going to bring that up. But part 2 of this episode, that's going to probably come out, let's say, maybe day before Easter, maybe during Easter, maybe the day after. I have to figure out how. I got to figure out how to do it. I'm going to tell you how to get yourself ready to compete. Tell you what things to look for, what things you should consider, and especially figure out how to play your deck effectively. Because guess what? You got Pro Tour guys out there who are taking names and kicking ass, and they look at you as going, who cares? Guarantee they're going to take on Winota deck and go, I'm going to beat these guys with Winota. Of course they are. Of course they're going to think that. But if you see my previous episode, you know how to beat Winota. And coming soon, I'm going to do more and more deck lists in Pioneer now. Because I admit, humbly, I've been focused a little too much in Modern. Been a little too focused in Modern. And I'm going to have to change that. I'm going to have to adapt because especially a Pro Tour coming on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now. I want you prepared. I want you to go out there and take names and kick ass and do what you got to do and win with Spirit Tribe. No bullshit. If you think that's bullshit, no bullshit. I want you to win. And you go, hey, I'm shouting out MTG Ectoplasm. That'd be great. Right, Ravishing?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being with me tonight. At least you saw the first part. We know Pro Tour is back. How to get there, how to get going. And my next like I said, my next episode, I'm going to show you the steps, what we got to do to get better, to make sure we become champions. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Hit that follow, like, subscribe button. And remember, the next time you're kicking your opponent's ass, make sure they say, that's bullshit.